I nearly lost my mind making this video, and it took me about an entire month to actually finish it. But in the very beginning, it had been 2 days. 2 days of being ridden by anxiety, struggling to think of what I had to do next, wondering if I was ever going to be good at this, and if creativity was really my thing at all. And after those 2 days of struggling, I finally found a game to play, and it was Alba. Just this opening felt like a warm hug to me because the first view that we had of this protagonist just already had me in tears, which kind of doesn't really make sense because I don't know what it is. It's just literally just like a few seconds of just seeing your character walk around, but it felt like a very warm, comforting hug to just be in this world. And that's how I knew that this is probably going to be a game that's going to stick with me. After how awful things had been for the past few days, coming up to a game that was this comforting and had this innocence to it felt amazing. And even now when I was editing this video, when I was watching this footage to try and get it for editing, I already had tears in my eyes because I don't know what it is. It feels so good. There's something about the visuals to this game, like when it comes to stuff like the animation and stuff, right? Like even when you're just walking around, you're looking at the idle animations, and like there's this one skipping animation, there's this one animation where you're just running with your hands around. Stuff like this really just gives it so much character and makes everything feel so good. It was when I was exploring the first island that I realized that this game is in major part about exploration, which again, what I said about animations and the visual art style makes it so much fun to just explore the island. And the game is literally just about going around, taking pictures of stuff, scanning it, and discovering these new animals and trying to save the wildlife of the region. It's very much a game about environmentalism, which was a really nice theme for me. I quite like that. And there's this constant theme of not being too nihilistic about things, which may or may not come off as a good or bad thing to people because sometimes you can lack the nuance required to address these topics and how things can go bad. But sometimes you just want to disconnect from all that and just enjoy a good story. You don't want to constantly confront how bad things can be. You just have a story that is about hope and things working out. And that is what Alba was for me, and I really liked it for that. There's just this overall sense of community and warmness and this overall dream of people actually coming together towards working a common goal, especially when it comes to the idea of you working against the establishment, right? Like it's just that there's more of us than there are of them. It's that sort of mentality which really feels nice to see come alive in a game. It's just very comforting and gives me hope that, maybe things can work out eventually. But Alba at its heart is just about exploring this island, which isn't particularly massive, but when you consider how slow Alba is as a character and how many interactions you have with the world and how detailed things are, kind of works fine actually. Now getting back to the point where I'm playing this game as a process of getting away from my video game burnout and getting to, like video games again. And I think it's funny because, as I said, there has been this case of where when I pick up a game, it will resonate with what I want in that moment. And in that same video, I also mentioned the point about how I want to go outside and explore nature and stuff more and learn more about nature. And yeah, this game does that. It also has exploration as its focus. It also has a very strong environmentalist message. It is also severely against late-stage capitalism and all those things. And it has this very general, nice vibe to it. Like, damn, this is literally just what I wanted in the moment. I'm also a huge fan of immersion, especially when it comes to how you interact with the game's mechanics. So when it comes to the HUD itself is so interactive because everything is kind of consolidated to something that your character is actually using. And this is something that comes off as a very endearing thing because it's able to communicate so much information to you without feeling like it's giving you one of these annoying Ubisoft-esque menus. And as I was exploring this island, I kind of got lost into it and I was so excited and so happy that I was finally enjoying something again. But as I was reaching the first hour, like all this is just within the first hour of my first session of playing this game, I was kind of starting to feel that enthusiasm dwindling away. And I was like, is this the point where it happens? Where I'm really happy and I feel like things are finally working out, but then it goes back to not working out. Is it happening again? And I feel like for once, I asked myself, maybe it's not that the game is not good, or maybe that I can't enjoy it. Maybe it's just the fact that I've been playing for an entire hour with my horrible attention span due to my ADHD, and maybe I just need to put it down, come back to it later. So that's what I did. I just put the game down, and I'm proud of myself. That was very mature, considering me. I didn't think you could do something like that, but I did. That's insane for me. When I came back to the game, there were some things that I started to notice. Like earlier, you have this mechanic where when you're near a trash can, you can pick up the garbage from near it and throw it in the trash can. But sometimes you'll see trash that is just lying around in the world itself. Or maybe you'll see these birdhouses that are broken. And I was like, maybe we can do something about this. Now this game is set over the course of a week. So the way the game paces things so as to not make it boring, because again, you are literally just stuck in an open world. The way the game paces that is by giving you new ways to explore and engage with the world. So in the first day, you don't have that much to do. And in the second day, maybe now you can finally start fixing these birdhouses. Another one, maybe you can start finally helping animals that are in need. You can finally start fixing these structures that need to be fixed. And you still have the older ones, the older things like being able to scan animals that are still there. So as you're getting familiar with the systems, the game gives you more and more systems. So every day when you start, you have more things to do, and that gives you an excitement to finally go back into the same world, but with this new lens that you have about how you can engage with it, which makes it a lot less boring, because I feel like that's kind of one of the problems with engaging with an open world, especially when you're so slow and you don't have a lot of dopamine based gameplay in it, because it's very relaxed, and I feel like that's kind of hard to balance. At some point I was kind of starting to get bored of just going around the island doing things. Suddenly, the game throws me into a somewhat linear exploration of this castle. You had to go around the castle, you had to look up stuff, and you had to find this eagle, and you had to do this weird somewhat platformer section, and things like this. It's so well paced. Like for someone like me who just gets bored of games so easily, it's just a very short game which has excellent pacing that as soon as it starts to get boring, it throws something at you and nothing overstays its welcome. When I was at this castle and I was heading away from it, I also saw this animal that had this bag stuck to its head, and I was like, what a stupid animal, right? But I also realized that so much of the animals that needed help in this game only needed help because of things that humans did. And that's one of the things that I think this game was also trying to highlight, that the only reason so many of the animals are suffering is because of humans, especially waste management. Generally one of the worst things that I've noticed that you have to keep doing in this game, because some people just can't throw the trash in the trash cans. It just makes you think about how many animals out there are suffering because of our poor waste management and things like that, you know? And I like it when a game makes me think about things that are relevant to me in the real world. But at this point in time, I was also starting to feel like this game has definitely reached how much enjoyment it can give me, because while yes, you can add more things to it, but now I was kind of getting tired of going around this island, and even if it gave me a new mechanic, I don't know how much fun I'd be having. Which is amazing, because this was actually the last day. Now, after the last session is where things got a bit complicated, because it took me about a few weeks to actually get this done. So usually my schedule is uploading videos bi-weekly, and instead I had exams coming up and I was worried that I didn't have time anymore, so I need to do this quickly, so I thought, why not just start making videos weekly? This was an awful idea, because now imagine you have exams coming up and you have like a hobby that you want to focus a lot on. You'd probably understand that you have exams, so you might have to take it a bit slower, right? And here I was, I had just doubled my workload. For the first week it actually went quite well, but then on the second week when it started, Sunday, I was like, what do I do this week? I don't know. So I spent 2 days trying to find something to do, and on Monday when I finally found Alba, I was like, you know what, let's just work on this. And when I sat down to play it and it started to click, I was like, hey, we might have something here, we might have figured it out. And I was happy. I thought maybe we have this down, maybe this week's video is ready already. And then I had an exam that I had to study for so much that I didn't even get the time to actually work on this video. And after that, when the exam was done, I was so tired from studying, because I have ADHD, like horrible ADHD, where I just cannot work, right? So I spent 2 days just trying to work, and it's so stressful because I'm not actually able to study, and it was awful. And at the end of it, I was just so tired that I couldn't focus on anything else even after the exam. And I spent a few days trying to figure that out, and it just wasn't happening. I even went on a trip, I did a lot of things in this period, and originally I actually talked about everything that happened during this period, but what I realized was that the video became insanely long, and it wasn't even worth it, you know, because the video was actually more of me talking about this period of being sad than actually talking about the game itself. I'll probably just make a video later on when I've figured out what's exactly going on, because even right now as I'm recording this, today is what, the 9th of June. It's been well over a month since the last video, and the last few weeks have just been awful, and it's been so tiring. But I think I'm starting to figure some stuff out, and I'll probably talk about that in a later video. But the final day of alba took maybe a week to actually do, and then this video itself was made painstakingly over the course of a month, where every single week I'll come up with a little bit of it and I'll have a little bit of drive to do it, but I can't get it all the way there, and it was an absolute pain in my ass to make this video. And it's not that important to mention it here because I don't think it ties as much into the game's theme anymore, because again, I played most of this game back when I didn't have this problem. So I'll just get back into the video now. Alba was an important game because it allowed me to appreciate games in a more unique way, in a way that I don't usually think I'd think of them. And that's probably why so many people find indie games fascinating, because they do try and break away from what the norm is of what a video game should be. And I know it's a bit weird to say this about a game like Alba, because it doesn't feel as revolutionizing as some other games. But to me it really was, because it gave me an experience that was exactly what I wanted from a game, but something that I don't usually get in games. And I'm sure there's tons of games out there that do this, but for me it was Alba that allowed me to have this kind of fun. Just being able to walk around the map and feel mindful about where I am and just explore and appreciate the nature and everything like that. That is so rare for me to do in a game, because I've said this in the game burnout video, but I love walking around in games. I love the idea of just going into a game world and just walking around and appreciating what's around me. And for a game to not just have this as something you can do, but something that is kind of the whole goal of playing the game, amazing. Absolutely loved it. The game just makes me want to live, it makes me want to explore, it makes me go, you know what, I could do this in real life. I could just go outside, I could walk, and I could look at trees, I could look at birds, I could look at animals. It's so fascinating. I mean, I could do this shit in real life, you know, that's amazing. It's so cool. The ending had a lot of things going on, and the game's ending, I don't think that's something I really want to talk about myself, because I would highly encourage you to just go and play this game for yourself. Primarily because it's a very short game, it's like 5 or 6 hours. Secondarily because this game, every time you download it, it actually has the team working behind it plant a tree. And this, back in 2021 December, led to 1 million trees being planted. 1 million trees just by people playing this game. So I think it's just better for all of us if you've hung out this far and if you've enjoyed it, I'm pretty sure you're gonna like the game. You should probably just go give it a shot, because it's gonna be good for all of us, I think. And this is one of the main things that I really like about this game. It's the fucking dogs again. I hate these piece of shits. Why do you keep barking? Shut the fuck up. But this is what I really like about Alba. It's the developers behind it really do care about the environment, and by playing it, you are literally helping the world get better. Even if you're not directly doing something, you kind of are. The studio behind Alba, Us2, is a part of Playing for the Planet, which is an alliance that makes efforts towards being sustainable for the environment. And I'm not sure about how effective this is, because I tried to look into just how much damage is done by people playing games or by people making games. And while yes, there do seem to be some articles talking about it, there are other articles also talking about how this is just part of like trying to convince you that you on an individual level are responsible for the damage done to the environment. Especially with the mention of the word carbon footprint, I feel like that just takes things in the wrong direction. I feel like even if we're not talking about the actual harm done by the software side of things, there are definitely a lot of harm done by the hardware side of things, especially in how the resources are mined. And for that reason alone, I think it's a good thing that there are people that are trying to think more about the environment when we're talking about these issues. And I hope it goes further into addressing more severe issues that are actually there in the gaming industry and the tech industry as a whole. But I'm going to leave it at that. Again, I'm not too knowledgeable and I don't want to yap about something I don't truly understand. As a final note, I did live stream my last day of playing this game, so if you really want to see the ending, you can probably just go watch the stream, but be warned that I was just talking about a lot of societal issues instead of actually focusing on the game. So yeah, have fun, but you can get my raw thoughts as I was playing then. Other than that, I'm so glad this is finally over. Not just the game, but me making this video, because I feel like the finishing of this video is what will help me finally get out of this slump, because it's just been there in my mind that I've started this video and I haven't finished it. And it's probably going to be awful. This video is probably not going to be good because I don't have the energy to put into this video anymore. I just want to get it done so I can move on to the next thing and give my shiny brain thingy syndrome thingy the attention it needs. And I'm going to leave it at that though. Let's hope at least I make some consistent videos, and other than that, I'm done with this bitch. Bye bye. You know, as a final note, it's kind of funny that the ending said Friday, and today, as I'm finishing this video, I finally just finished editing the whole thing. This is like, the video was just supposed to end there, but I'm just doing this last section because I'm so frustrated. But yeah, today's Friday. What date is it? 14th of June? Yeah. I finally finished editing everything. This video is gonna be up probably tomorrow. And I'm gonna go on a trip, and hopefully when I come back, I'm not gonna be depressed, and hopefully I'll make something good. Bye bye.